Hello and welcome to this YouTube live session with me, Ramachan. Sorry for that slight delay. I was, as always, on mute. That has been a perennial problem, but it was not a perennial problem that CSK were facing because match a losing streak has been snapped by MS Dhoni, and who was there in the middle of it? None other than a certain MS Dhoni there. Shivam Dubey scoring top scoring with 43, unbeaten 43, but it was a 26 of just 11 deliveries from MS Dhoni, sealing the deal with four fours and one sixes a day to remember for Chennai Super Kings fans who have been taking a lot of flack on social media. But on the other hand, Lucknow Super Giants who came in on riding on the high of a three-match winning streak, losing at home despite Rishabh Pant, the captain, coming and scoring a pretty good 63 of just 49 deliveries. To discuss further on this game, I have Rudransh Khurana from the Cricket Next team. Rudransh, finally, something to cheer about for the Chennai Super Kings fan and especially MS Dhoni right there in the middle of it. Your first thoughts of MS Dhoni finishing the game, though it was huffing and puffing the way CSK went about it in the chase, but eventually they crossed the line and would be happy, a lot of Chennai Super Kings fans, because MS Dhoni was in the middle of it all.
Yeah, exactly. Great win for CSK. It's a very critical win because we saw the kind of position they were in. They're still 10th, but every win counts, every point counts. And I think it was a perfectly set up match for MS Dhoni and Shivam Dubey because it was set up by the bowlers. I think this win was most of the credit for this win should go to the CSK bowlers. Ravindra Jadeja, Pathirana, they took 2 wickets each. Khalil was good again, and they kept LSG to a leash. They kept them to a very subpar total. I think LSG would be more disappointed with their batting effort than the bowling effort. But coming back to CSK, I think it's a very confidence boosting win because MS Dhoni has been in that unwarranted attention because of his batting issues, his knee issues, which both of those things we saw today as well. He wasn't connecting difficult deliveries, good length deliveries. Whenever LSG bowlers bowled full to him, he did very well. But we also saw him hobbling around, and I think, but still, because it's a win, because it's his first win back as a captain, it should give CSK a lot of confidence, should give them a lot of self belief to go to the next stage of this tournament. They need some kind of momentum. They had not won any matches since the first one. They were obituaries were written about them because they were not being able to get wins out of Chipok, and they were not able to get wins in Chipok. So just because it's an away win, it has come at a very critical time. I think they should give them enough confidence to maybe get one or two more, and then we'll see.
Yeah, one or more two wins for CSK, and who knows? Who knows? We could see one of the greatest comeback stories. Also, remember Mumbai Indians also doing something similar. Royal Challengers also doing similar. So why the what you know does it stop Chennai Super Kings to do it again? But again, sticking on to MS Dhoni came in at a position that we know that he comes in. No talks about getting himself promoted or getting himself demoted. Came in, as you said, at an opportune time, and it was set up for him. But then again, the lack of finishing from him in earlier games, you a lot of people would have been skeptical. But then again, you mentioned about him being hobbling, not at his best in terms of running between the wickets, but the range hitting was there. Average bowling there from LSG, yes, you can concede that. But MS Dhoni, how much of a confidence booster is this for him as a player, as a captain, as you said, returning as a captain, losing the first game terribly, and now here confidence booster of the CSK as a team we have talked about. But for Dhoni himself, would this be a case where he would be thinking, you know what, forget about those 4 overs or 3 overs, I can hang around for a little longer? This would give him the confidence to say that, you know what, this is my position. Maybe by the 14th or 13th over, if need be, I may be there because he did last. Quite a long, but yes, 11 deliveries, but he had come into the field in the around in the 15th over. So that's also for him from a personal point of view, from a person who's struggling with all those injuries and the age factor, confidence booster for him personally as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think it just shows how natural of an athlete he is. because he, despite the age issues, despite the knee issues, he's basically batting on one leg. But you can see the hand-eye coordination is still there. He still knows perfectly well which balls to target, where to target them, and although I think that LSG bowlers made it very easy for him because if MS Dhoni would have asked for five deliveries to hit, it would have been those ones that he was served today. But still, I think the kind of quality he still shows at this age is exemplary. The only thing is, uh, will he be able to do it consistently? We'll see. But I think this, because he has been able to do it, he has been able to stay unbeaten and taken CSK over the line. I think it will also give confidence to the top order batters, maybe some in the top three, top four, because now they will be able to trust their lower order better. They might be able to attack bowlers better in the power play in the middle overs, because they know even if we have a one-legged MS Dhoni coming in, he can still strike at 200. He can still at least be good enough to take you close to the matches. And we also should give the credit to Shivam Dube because he set up that win in the middle overs. If he hadn't done that, it would have been much more difficult for MS Dhoni to come in and do it single-handedly. I think he deserves a lot of credit for how composed he was, how maturely he played. In the 19th over, the 20th over, he was the one. Generally, when you see MS Dhoni finishing, MS Dhoni coming at the death, you expect him to take the leadership role. But today, I think Shivam Dube took that role. He saw his matchups. He prepared. He was the one who was leading. He was the one taking the difficult overs, taking the difficult balls, and I think a lot of credit should go to him as well for this win.
Definitely, a lot of credit should definitely go for Shivam Dubey as well. As I mentioned, just a recap of how this match went about. CSK batters, they were chasing a total of 167 targets set by LSG. They were put into bat first by MS Dhoni, a decision that we all thought might not be the right one at the toss, but again, it proved the right one because Chennai Super Kings eventually won. Just a recap of it. Uh, Mitchell Marsh with 30 of 25 deliveries returning for the game after missing out the previous one. But the biggest talking point, at least from an LSG point of view, was Rishabh Pant back in form, 63 of 49. Wasn't the fluent Rishabh Pant that we have seen in the past, but then again, getting a confident 50, his first 50 plus score. Aish Baduni and Abdul Samad also contributing with 22 and 20, leading LSG to 166 for 7. But in reply, Chennai Super Kings had a new duo up top, Sheikh Rashid playing his first game, if I'm not wrong, for the first time in 3 years for CSK, opening the batting alongside Rachin Ravindra. They gave them a breezy start, 27 and 37. The LSG did make a comeback in the middle overs with Rahul Tripathi, Jadeja, Vijay Shankar not really contributing, but Shivam Dube hung around, and faced the tough, rode through the tough phase, and with MS Dhoni finishing it off in style with three balls remaining. But as you mentioned, Rudransh, so the game was pretty much set up there by the Chennai Super Kings of bowlers as well. And we do have a comment from sports fan, our regular viewer, saying yes, CSK fans are happy for Thala, but bigger positive is that CSK openers came to the party as Sheikh Rashid looked brilliant in his shot knock. So let's start off from there itself. Sheikh Rashid, a very important change we all were thinking in terms of not just bringing Sheikh Rashid or Devon Conway. Two changes they made. Ravichandran Ashwin was out, Devin Conway was out, came in Sheikh Rashid and Jamie Overton. The start with Rashid and Ravindra gave, that was very pivotal because that is where I think CSK were lacking. Their power play run rate wasn't the greatest, but that was not the case this time around. Even though the middle order still had its issues because of those good start by Rashid and Ravindra, I think CSK were able to pull through eventually.
Yeah, I think one thing I really liked about Sheikh Rashid was because CSK had lost Ruturaj Gaikwad, he looked while batting almost how Ruturaj Gaikwad bats. And I
Yeah.
think that was a very nice thing to see. He was very technical, he was very aesthetically pleasing. He, from first impression, I know it's very early. From first impressions, looks more like a technically solid ODI player. But I think he can, like Gaikwad has, he can also kick on, put some good knocks here in the IPL. Maybe in Chennai, maybe we'll see more of him in Chepauk, where pitches are slower, where he someone they need a an anchor kind of a batter the role that Gaikwad plays. I think uh, it is. I think Sportsman is very right in saying that uh, openers doing well is a huge positive for CSK, because they have always been a very opening. They have always had a very special, consistent opening partnership throughout their history. They have had very excellent partnerships at the top of the order, which has set up them a lot of their wins. So when that wasn't happening this year, it looked like an issue. Look made CSK look like they weren't. They it made them look like they it made them look like unrecognizable for most of the fans. So that happening this time, with Ravindra also taking the responsibility and the left right combination working well for them, Rashid taking his time, I think it gave fans like sports fans those moments that they have longed for in this season. And I think it's a very big positive for them, and will give them more confidence, because they will feel like how they have always been, how CSK has always been a very good opening side, a very good spin side, a side that can chase such totals with MS Dhoni, Shivam Dubey finishing things off. I think it's an all-round a very good win.
All round a very good win, and again the win set up by in a way the spinners itself, because that is where I think one area Rudransh, CSK were a bit lacking, even though Noor Ahmed has been among the wicket takers. There wasn't much support coming in. I mean, we have talked about Ravichandran Ashwin in the past 3 4 games. Whatever he played was not even able to finish his quota of overs. Ravindra Jadeja was looking a pale shadow of what I know we know of Ravindra Jadeja. But this time around today, look at those stats. Virendra Jadeja, 3 overs, 24 runs, 2 wickets, economy of 8. Noor Ahmed, brilliant, 4 overs, 13 runs with an economy of 3.20. That is Rashid Khan's kind of figures there. Even Anshul Kambos, the medium pacer, coming in and bowling tidy with 3 overs, 20 and taking 1 wicket there. But the pressure was applied, the chokehold was in a way applied by both Jadeja and Noor Ahmed, and you could see shades of Dhoni's captaincy there. I mean, yes, we it's a very unfair comparison to make if when Raj Gaikwad is captaining this side at vice versa to MS Dhoni, but then again it becomes quite a different unit altogether, and that chokehold in the middle overs is what CSK has been known for. You've talked about this. We saw that at least for a brief while, at least in this game, Jadeja and Noor Ahmed combining, and what not giving him much runs, and the pressure was applied there and there itself.
Yeah, I think you raised a very good point about Noor not finishing his overs. I think that was a big issue with them, because why would you not make him bowl all of his overs? Why would you not build your team around such a bowler who is in that good a form, who is taking wickets every match, who is a purple cap holder, who is just extending his lead every game? And I think that's what CSK did right today. Dhoni brought Noor at a very correct time after, like, I think seventh or eighth over he brought him in, and he was used very brilliantly, and you could see that impact. The runs he stopped helped Jadeja and Pathirana and other bowlers get the wickets, and I think Dhoni in the last match when he became the captain when Gaikwad was first ruled out, I think he was. Uh, it's just my impression that I think he wasn't as prepared as we would have, as CSK fans would have liked to see him. He was not. There were shades of Gaikwad's captaincy, the slight immaturity, if I can say that, in those decisions. But today it was almost perfect. I think they recognize that LSG had made a mistake by not bringing in someone like David Miller earlier on, and they capitalized on that with their bowling effort. It was a typical CSK choke with the spinners. Noor Ahmed continued to stop the runs, and Jadeja took the wickets, and everyone else contributed with the wickets. Even if you can see, we will talk about Rishabh Pant scoring a half century, but he didn't do that at a great rate. He still took a lot of deliveries to get to that mark. He hit Pathirana for a couple of sixes, but before that he was going almost run a ball, which is not good, and he
Practically
didn't.
runnable. Yeah, practically
Yeah,
runnable.
exactly. So it shows that how well CSK, apart from Pathirana, who hasn't been at his best this year, they were in this match, and it was again set up by the bowlers and by MS Dhoni's captaincy, which needs to be lauded. And we are no one to laud his captaincy, but yes, he did very well.
Yeah, he did really, really well, and that's what it was. You know, that old, typical Chennai Super Kings of old that we've been so accustomed to seeing was pretty much there. At least glimpses of it was there. But that's the positives from Chennai Super Kings. A lot of positives to take. But then again, as I mentioned at the top of the show, it was still huffing and puffing. Rishabh Pant did admit at the end of the match that they were 10 to 15 runs short at an Ekana Stadium where the average score has been near about 180. You did feel that LSG were below par with their batting. Kudos to Chennai Super Kings and the bowlers to restrict them. And even on in reply, Chennai Super Kings, despite that good start, fumbled in the middle order again with the Tripathi, with the Vijay Shankar. So the problems are still there, and sports fan again still continuing with us raises a relevant question, and that is where I will pivot to. What do you make of the CSK management decision sending Jadeja when spinners are operating, that too even above Dubey? Also, should CSK try and Vansh Bedi in next match of Tripathi and Shankar? I'll just tweak this question, Rudransh, a bit, and I'll try to ask you an overall bit of it. There is still an issue there in the middle overs with the Tripathi, with the Vijay Shankar, the way they were, and even Dubey for that matter. He did admit in the post-match presser that the presentation that he wasn't trying to hit the ball really every ball because the bowlers were executing, but then again, it was a struggle for him as well, even for Ravindra Jadeja for that matter. So overall, what is there what they can do? I mean, bringing in a Vansh Bedi, okay, you brought in a Sheikh Rashid, kudos to you. Do you bring in a Vansh Bedi there, or you still stick with the Tripathi because you also have a Deepak Hooda who didn't really fire well? This is one of those games where LSG were below par. What if it was 10 or 15 or 25 runs more? Would a Dhoni or Dubey would have been able to scale that mountain again? So yeah, your thoughts on that middle order still being an issue for Chennai Super Kings?
It is definitely an issue, and I think you are absolutely right that if LSG had scored a power score like 15, 20 more runs, CSK would have found it very, very difficult to chase it because we could see how much Dhoni was struggling physically with his body. And I think uh, sports fan, and you are absolutely right about CSK's middle order not being what at the level that CSK need, because with Tripathi he has been an excellent IPL batter. It's like the kind of batter that streams won't forget kind of a batter. But Rahul Tripathi
But
hasn't been
but
at.
only at the time where he is in the power plays.
Yeah.
Give that man the power play overs, and he'll be the guy that streets won't forget. But beyond that,
Yeah. Yeah, I think he you are right. I think Rahul Tripathi in this team is, for whatever reasons, maybe the middle order is not suiting him. But it did at SRH where the pitches were very flat. But I think on the kind of pitches that CSK are playing and the kind of circumstances he's finding himself in, it's just not going right for him. And same with Vijay Shankar. I don't consider Vijay Shankar a IPL level of a batter for the kind of batting we are seeing in this tournament with other teams, with the impact, with the kind of scores we are seeing. I don't think Vijay Shankar is the right man for your number five, number four positions. So maybe yes, there is nothing to lose by in trying someone like Vansh Bedi or someone like Ayush Mahatre who's coming in, because that's what CSK did. They were still trying to make some things happen. I don't agree with the Ravindra Jadeja promotion move, but at least it was trying something. They have their batting isn't working, and the only thing you can do is try. Maybe try. You can't send MS Dhoni up front because he doesn't have the physical fitness for it. But you can try with other batters. You can give opportunities to younger players because anyway you don't have anything to lose. Rahul Tripathi and Vijay Shankar aren't performing to anywhere close to the level that you need in this tournament. So why not give a chance to a youngster? And about Shivam Dubey, I think I remember Shivam Dubey had the same issue that he wasn't getting great starts and he was getting very low strike rate innings even when he joined CSK. It took him time, it took him confidence. He needed to build that confidence before he became the threatening, the daunting Shivam Dubey he was against spin. And I think this innings can unlock that for him. Maybe we'll see. I'm pretty sure we'll see much better runs from him, much better strike rates from him in the coming games because he would have unlocked that confidence that he was lacking, and that was also because he hadn't had that much game time leading up to the tournament. He hadn't played much, so I think this innings will help unlock that. And yes, I agree. CSK should try someone like Bedi or Maybe there are other players. Maybe gets Mahathir in at the top of the order. Maybe move Sheikh Rashid because you don't have anything to lose. Though Rahul Tripathi and Vijay Shankar aren't. If 5 and 20 and 25 runs is whatever you are getting at low strikers from those two batters, why not give that opportunity to someone else who may or may not be able to better?
Yeah, I mean, it's no harm, as you said, in trying out somebody, and you're trying out a Vansh, maybe trying out an Ayush Mathare, because Rahul Tripathi has had his fair share of opportunities and hasn't really clicked, hasn't really been in that kind of form that you would expect to be. And Vijay Shankar, I think Rudranshu mentioned it right, doesn't look like this is not a T20 bowler. For me, if any batting unit puts in Vijay Shankar at number four, that's not a good batting unit altogether, because, of course, there has to be better players than that. And today was a perfect example. You have your number four designated, technically, one of your better batters bats at number four. Even then, you are promoting a all-rounder ahead of that person. You are promoting an impact player ahead of your technically number four players. Really uh, tells you a lot about what the CSK management is thinking in terms of Vijay Shankar, and he pretty much in a way looks like, okay, they don't have any other option from an experience point of view. Might as well stick him there. Doesn't look like it. But that's about CSK. Let's talk about LSG. As I mentioned, three-match winning streak they had, and it has been broken at their home. And one of those things that I think it was in the pre-match show, me and Amar were discussing. What if the top order, top three, top four don't fire? Where would they find themselves in this scenario? And pretty much that's what happened. Aiden Markram, the opener, going out for six. Nicholas Pooran, the purple cap holder, going out. The orange cap holder, going out for eight. Mitchell Marsh did struggle, did not score at the rate that you know him to score. Got out for 30 or 25 deliveries. Yes, Pant scored 63 or 49, but again, very scratchy. Ayush Budhoni Samad played their part to extend that score to 166, but they were still below par. They still were not 20 to 15 runs short. But my biggest question here was David Miller, 0 of 0, not out. Why did he bat so low? Abdul Samad, okay, gave you that 20 runs of 11, but it should have been a David Miller up there instead of a Samad.
Yeah, not maybe instead of Samad, maybe instead of Ayush Padoni, because
Yeah.
you don't need him to come at 15, 16, 17 overs. You can get him at on the 12th over mark and he'll do that
Yeah,
for you.
he's not a typical finisher. He's an actual T20 bowler who's versatile enough, and his best trait being a finisher, but overall, he's a fantastic T20 player.
Exactly, he has scored hundreds in this format, and you don't get that from finishers. He's the kind of player who can play in multiple gears, and I think it's again the same issue of teams being too much, going too much into the left hand, right hand combinations because you don't need it. You sometimes you just go with the quality of the player over the left hand, right hand combination, and you put bank on their experience, bank on their quality, and take that punt that even if you have two left hands on the crease, they can do the job for you. It's you can't always go with left hand right hand combination irrespective of the situation, and I think that's the issue that LSG should learn from today because you can't have David Miller coming after Ayush Badoni and Abdul Samad in IPL. He's the kind of batter who has scored so many runs. If Gujarat Titans were watching this match, they would have been laughing at what LSG have done today because
Yeah, yeah.
they used David Miller to perfection at some stages because they got the best out of him because they used him at the right moments. It's not too difficult to get his entry point right. He's the kind of a batter who can bat anywhere from 10 to the 20th over. He's not your Andre Russell where you have to see, oh, should we send him a 10th over? Should we wait for 3 or 4 more overs? Will he be able to do it? David Miller can do the 10th over to 20th over job. You just have to send him out. It's just it was baffling for me, especially because Rishabh Pant was struggling and Mitchell Marsh hadn't had a good day. You need a striker. I think Abdul Samad did very well to get LSG's score to where it went. Ayush Badoni was really struggling. I think even more than Marsh and Pant, he was really, really struggling. And they missed a trick by not sending David Miller ahead of him. The 17 balls that Badoni took for 22 runs, if Miller had taken those 17 balls, he might have scored 35, 36 runs. And that would have been the difference that we are talking about, those 10, 15 runs between a subpar score and a decently par score, which LSG might have been able to defend as well. So this is something they got really wrong today. And I think for even though Pant scored his 50, he should take the confidence from it, but not try to replicate what happened today, because he is better than that. LSG deserve better than that. LSG need better than the performances he put today. They need if he's taking 49 balls, which is almost half of the innings, they need at least 70, 80 runs even on this pitch from him. And I know he has been down on confidence, he has been down on runs, so you expect him to take some time, get back into the rhythm. But now that he has a half century under his belt, they should expect better from him. They should expect 70s, 80s at a much better striker from him, and then only we can expect LSU to do better.
So yeah, they need to sort out the batting, but then again, can't really fault the batting here. It's one of those games where it happens. I mean, Nicholas Puran, you can't expect Nicholas Puran to fire every time. It was one of those games that he got out early. Aiden Markram also got Rahul Tripathi, for his credit, took a very good catch. 7 out of 10 times that would not have been a catch, but Rahul Tripathi did take that catch to get him out. Mitchell Marsh struggled, and as you mentioned, Rishabh Pant should take the confidence from this game that he can build on it rather than replicate this, and David Miller up there. So to we are coming to the close of discussion. Before we end, one final discussion on LSG bowling, because right from the toss itself, Rudransh, I had an impression that both the teams are pretty much getting it wrong, in the sense. MS Dhoni's logic of bowling first was a bit you factor, in the second innings. But look at LSG's, and it was a play. The bowlers who would be affected by dew the most were actually the better bowlers, and Ravi Bishnoi, Digvesh Rathi, and Aiden Markram, the spinners. And on the other hand, uh, Rishabh Pant said, batting would be tougher. Batting might not be easier the second time around, but then again, they also struggled in the first innings itself. So that was kind of a thing where I was looking and I was like, oh, so there's something missing. But from the bowler's perspective, the paces are not there in terms of what we've talked about. Spinners did really well. Bishnoi coming back with 2 wickets. Digvesh Rathi again very economical. Aiden Markram again very economical. And there's an interesting question that is coming in from sports fans saying, is Mayank Yadav fit? Would he be a big boost? He could win matches single-handedly. I don't agree to that. Of the second part of it, sports fan, he may not be able to win matches single-handedly. The first part of the question, he's probably fit, but there is still certain parameters that he needs to overcome, or he needs to tick first. The LSG management would be closely monitoring him. He will join the squad very soon. He will join the LSG squad. That is the latest update. Could be a big boost or not, in the context of what we saw from a bowling perspective from the Pacers, be it an Avesh, be it Shardul Thakur. Do you think a Mayank Yadav coming in would make a difference? Because the second part of this statement from Sportsman, I completely disagree. He's not going to win. Okay, he'll win you one game, two game, and that's about it. He will be done after that. You can't rely on him for the season.
I think Mayank Yadav coming back could be a big boost, but I think they will have to give him enough time to get back into match rhythm, because I think LSG bowling attack needs some quality, because at this moment Shardul Thakur, Akashdeep, and
And
Avesh Khan are very
I'm really sorry to interject here, but yeah, the biggest thing that I forgot was your lead bowler Akashdeep comes back with just
yeah.
one over.
Yeah. So exactly, Akashdeep, they gave him one over for the entirety of the innings, and then gave him the 20th, 19th over against MS Dhoni and Shivam Dubey. That was, and when you know that he has a tendency to bowl no balls, that no ball that he bowled, that killed off the game for LSG. And I think I forgot to mention that was a huge captaincy error from Rishabh
It was
Pant.
Thakur. It was Thakur. Thakur who bowled the 19th.
Okay, yeah,
Akashdeep just bowled
yeah,
one over. Yeah, Thakur. It was
yeah,
Thakur.
yeah. Akashdeep, with Akashdeep coming back, I think the issue is the over. I think even the 19th over should have gone to someone like Ravi Bishnoi, who bowled the 20th over the other night, and he did very well. Even if Shardul Thakur bowled, I don't think Shardul Thakur should have bowled. He and Akashdeep, I think again they are giving the same kind of qualities to the LSG side, which is why they need someone like Mayank Yadav who has that express pace, who can give them something different. And I think Akashdeep getting one over just tells you that they didn't need him as much, and Rishabh Pant failed to rotate his bowlers as much as well as he would have liked. So that is again a big issue. If someone like Mayank Yadav comes in, even if he bowls like 2 or 3 overs, I think he can contribute much better than what Akashdeep did today. Avesh Khan, I think they can only pick one of Akashdeep and Avesh Khan. Sharul Thakur has been in good form. He is in the purple cap race, so you have to get stick with him. But you can only pick one of Akashdeep and Avesh Khan. They are not, I think, originally in their plans they were supposed to be uh, interchangeable backups for each other. But because Mohsin Khan got injured, because Mayank Yadav got injured, they have to play both of them, which is becoming an issue for them because both of them are coming back from injuries. They don't have the right rhythm needed for IPL, and both are not your death bowlers. So even if Mayank Yadav comes in, they can ask one of them to uh, especially focus on death for get those 2 overs with Shardul Thakur or with Ravi Bishnoi in at the death, and they can use Mayank Yadav early on with the new ball in the middle overs. So that will help the balance. But again, Mayank Yadav coming in will come with the caveat he has a very fragile body. He bowls he bowls something that takes a lot of toll on his body. So he needs to get that rest. He needs to be brought into the team methodically, not immediately without any process. It needs to be very carefully. His comeback should be very carefully observed and very carefully driven. That's the only way that LSG can get benefit out of him, and Mayank Yadav can get benefit out of coming back. But because otherwise, if you rush him, then you will again lose him for a few months, and it doesn't help anyone.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, yeah, Mayank Yadav debate is completely different. But once he has to be fit, he has to play one game. Then only we need to assess him. As you said, you need to give him that time. My issue is even if you give him that time, one game and second game, he's again ruled out or he has again injured himself. So the fragility of Mayank Yadav is the biggest issue for me. Looking at others in terms of whatever they have an Akash Singh who's been with the CSK earlier. You can prime out. Maybe I'm thinking here is you may want to get in somebody like a Shamar Joseph. Try and get him in because you will have to let go of somebody like an ideally maybe the option would be to let go of an Eden Markram because you need to have a Nicholas Byrne, you need to have uh, the David Miller there. So maybe it's a Markram that may have to make way or Shamar Joseph. You bring him in because you don't have enough bowlers to bowl out in the death. I mean, the clutch players. Yes, Avesh Khan technically, theoretically, you'd say is a good T20 bowler can bowl at the death. You talk about Shardul Thakur, the kind of experience, but as you mentioned, they are not your natural death bowlers, so to speak. So that is where I think they come in. Akashdeep is not, so hence the reason why you don't see him bowling at all there. So that is, I think, where maybe a Shamar Joseph comes in. LSG could find something valuable out of him. That means Adam Markram gets out, Rishabh Pant goes to the top of the order, and maybe one more player, David Miller, automatically moves one slot up. So that could be the change that Rishabh Pant and LSG may be looking at. But for now, that is the end of the discussion because Chennai Super Kings have won a game finally. 5 match losing streak ends. MS Dhoni finishes off in style, not the kind of style that I was talking about in 2011 that he finished, but still he did manage to be there in the middle and give a lot of happy memories or respite, happy respite for the CSK fans. With that, that's the end of our discussion. Thank you, Rudransh, for your insights as well. And once again, for CSK fans, you would be very happy bunch of guys today. CSK win. LSG lose their first game in 4 games. They are still at the fourth the position in the points table, while Chennai Super Kings, despite the win, find themselves at the last. Would this be start of a comeback? Would be interesting to see. We'll have to wait and watch. So yeah, that's about it from us, guys. Thank you, Rudan. Thank you for all the viewers tuning in. This is me, Vineet, signing off. Thank you very much.